allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could we have a moment of silence, please? I'm sure everybody's aware that a member of the ZBA in our community, Tony Galoo, passed away last week. Thank you. Public comment. Jim, you asked to speak during public comment. I'm sure especially the people who live in the village, but others are aware of the terrible shape that Route 218 coming into the village is. Jim has perhaps a solution to get DOT off of their butts and down here and to fix the road. So Jim, if you would take the microphone and...
I appreciate that, Mr. Supervisor and council members. And I know I wasn't, it's not an agenda item, so I could have waited, but I appreciate
No, that's
having me
fine.
up earlier. So, everybody knows that we've been asking for a long time that the roads, the state roads in the town of Highlands and the village of Highland Falls are unacceptable. So, I have spearheaded a few weeks ago a postcard campaign, and what we're looking for are signatures. I have one addressed to the governor's office, to our state senator's office, and to the assembly's office, the assembly person's office. And in a nutshell, it's asking them to please fix our roads. It's a mere 3.9 plus or minus miles that we're looking to have done here. I read a couple of news articles where there's $151 million that the state is spending on fixing roads, and there's over $7 million that they're fixing roads here in Orange County. Unfortunately, on that list for Orange County, our roads aren't included. So what can we do? I figured getting 1,000 postcards printed for each one of them and getting them either sent or I'm going to personally drop off. And we have drop boxes located at the town hall, at the center, and at Village Hall, where you can also pick up the postcards. You can just drop them there, or you can send them in the mail if you want yourself. I know the town works on their roads diligently for the taxpayers, as the village is. I mean, last year alone, we did 11 roads. We're working on doing the center of Main Street next year. So we're doing our part as elected officials here in the town of Highlands and in the village. And I want to know why the state isn't doing their part to help us out on a mere 3.9 miles of road. So if you can please stop in at those 3 locations, any of them, and pick up a postcard for each one, the governor's office, the senator's office, and the assemblyman's office. Sign them and just drop it in the box right there. It'd be greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Jim. Anybody have any questions?
No, so you said you have 1,000 of those?
1,000 printed for each one, yeah.
Each one.
And if I need to get more, I'll get more.
Okay. Well, and listen, thank you for what you're doing, and I definitely will get the word out,
I greatly appreciate it.
and I'll sign my postcard too.
I'll make sure I leave some for you guys too.
Okay.
Thank you again, sir.
Thank you, Jim. And thank you for your effort. I'm sure it'll be well appreciated by everybody, especially when I come in town, I either got to go way to the right or way to the left, and that sometimes doesn't even help. Mr. Burns, would you like to address us early, or?
Well, I would.
Sure,
I'm not on the agenda, but,
I know.
okay. I'm here as I've been president of the Highlanders for the last year and a half. And anytime one of my meetings is going too fast, we bring up certain conversations that will put us into overtime. And it basically is, how many senior organizations do we have in this town? We're trying to save the senior center, is the old KSC Hall. We've brought our installation dinner in there. We brought our Christmas party in there. We're doing potlucks. We do bingo. We actually have an exercise class starting the first Thursday in March. But it's always, we have the Senior Citizens Advisory Council, who basically, under new leadership now, so it might not be as bad, but past leadership brought it to Holy Innocents Church because they're trying to save the nutrition site. And then the town, in their infinite wisdom, appointed a senior coordinator that doesn't even come to our meetings. I love her. I love her to death. I'm not knocking her. I love Reverend Judy too. But it's Senior Appreciation Day. Where's Senior Appreciation Day? Where should it be? It should be at a village-supported senior center. But it's not. It was at the center. Sit and talk about history. The center. And now all of a sudden, and this was at our last meeting, and it's sort of the straw that broke the camel's back, is now we have a brand-new Town of Highlands Recreation for Seniors running bus trips that, to the same place that the Highlanders run 2+ trips a year. And I gotta tell you, the seniors are upset because for years, the Highlanders were the only game in town. And that budget line for transportation for seniors was the Highlanders were the only ones using it. But now we have this fourth Town of Highlands Recreation for Seniors, and they're not only doing the Silver Birches in July at $60, where our trips are normally $43 and $47, but they're also running one to Empire State Plaza in Albany, and it's, I don't know who it is, Town of Highlands Rec for Seniors, but they're making the check out to the Hudson Valley Women and Friends. So you can, I'm dealing with people that are basically had it. Councilman King was at our last meeting, and if he didn't hear it, 28 other people heard it. The mayor was there, and he said, if we don't start utilizing the senior center, that the village might as well sell it. So now I got 28 little old ladies ready to get their umbrellas out and charge down here. And if you look at it, it's a municipal building. You should be responsible to the taxpayers in this town. And I know you guys, you're frugal like me. You don't waste any money. You count your nickels and dimes. But county money coming into the town, $6,000, just gets funneled right to Holy Innocents Church, where maybe the senior center should be the nutrition site, and that $6,000 can offset some of the village taxpayers' cost, because it's only the village taxpayers that are supporting that building. They pay the heat, they pay the electric, they pay the lights, they pay the snow plowing, they pay the lawn mowing, and they pay the custodial. All those Fort Montgomery freeloaders were like carpetbaggers that came over the Tappan Zee Bridge, 40, 50 years ago. We don't pay anything. Apparently, and Jimmy's here, and he knows it, and he knows I've been to the village board meetings, and I've said the same thing. I don't know why the village taxpayers aren't going to a village board meeting or coming here and demanding what's right is right. The senior center that supplies, works with all the seniors in the whole town of Highlands should be coming out of the YA budget. That being said, that's $6,000. Now you got $5,200 going to the center that, and again, Lover has not been to maybe 2 senior meetings, 2 Highlander meetings. What does the seniors want? She talks to 2 or 3. I don't know where she gets her information. I don't know why anybody would go to Empire State Plaza as a senior road trip. I was up there a week and a half ago for Marty, and you walk your rear end off. All it is walking, 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 walking. You know, it'd be beautiful if they had little carts to drive you around, but they don't. So I don't know who picked that out, but they're doing a trip to that. And our seniors, my seniors, the Highlanders, they're worried that when they go to Silver Birches in October, there's not going to be any money left in the transportation budget line for seniors. So, I mean, it's 5,200. I think we should just support the senior center. I mean, it's a very short walk up the street to get together with this other municipality, and I know why nobody wants to do it, but I think it's time to bite the bullet and try to get something done with it. Try to get it under town control. D'Onofrio sat right there and he said, if we don't start utilizing it, the village might as well sell it. Well, the village might as well sell it, maybe we should look into buying it for the town and put it in the budget, the A budget, where it belongs. And I do thank you for letting me go first and not having to wait till the end of the meeting. Questions?
Ty may have something, it can explain about the funding of that one trip.
Well, first of all, good evening, everyone. And yes, I was at that meeting. Thank you for acknowledging me while I was there. I was as confused as you were initially about who was this perceived to be another organization, but to come to find out it's not another organization, really. It's just a different name that we may not be familiar with. So the center, who is the senior coordinator for the town, is the Town of Highlands Recreation for Seniors. So it's not a new organization. It's point one. Point two. Apparently this trip, the admission for this trip is $45. So where's the other 15 coming from is what we were trying to figure out, because your trip is like 40 something, this one's 60. Well, apparently they include a $5 tip for the driver of the bus and then $10 transportation fee, which then comes back to the Town of Highlands for future trips. That's what that is, and I got the breakdown. I went and talked with Aaron about this, and this is what I got from him.
Again, so $10 transportation fee, 40 people on the bus, that's $400. The bus costs $800, so every trip they take, they're kicking back 50%.
To the town.
Well, I mean, you guys do what you want to do. I think we have enough senior organizations. I don't think the center should be the coordinator. I think we should have somebody sitting down there, opening that door, making sure, putting on different activities for the seniors,
Yeah, well,
rather than us doing it ourselves.
initially, we're just talking about this, but to expand the conversation to your point, I think what has happened over time, we had a reason to do these various things in the past, whether it be the Senior Citizens Advisory Council, whether it be the meals over at Holy Innocent, whether it be that. It may be time to sit down and readdress some of these things.
That's what I say.
I
Take
had a long
walk.
conversation with those folks.
1,000 yards up the street, go up there and talk to them and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
And we gotta bring tape recorders and you gotta say, would you mind repeating that, please? That's what you gotta do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Previous minutes of February the 10th. Anybody like to approve them?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Thank you for making them digital, June.
Thank you. Much easier.
Okay, communications. I received a letter from a Cadet Paul Tan, T-A-N. My name is Cadet Paul Tan. I'm planning a series of projects to build a relationship between West Point cadets and Highland Falls HFFMCSD. I guess that's the whole school, middle school, high school. Got an awful lot of stuff in that. But anyway, I'm working with West Point's Recycling Club to organize an opportunity where students can meet cadets to pick up trash together. We reached out to Principal McEdliff, and he connected me to some faculty members and student groups who want to work with the Recycling Club. Tentative details follow. April the 25th, the exact location will be announced in correlation with Earth Day. Middle school students, high school students, parents, and cadets. Start at 9 a.m. and with lunch together at noon. Have reporters cover the story in the local news. I intend for this community service event to set the precedents for future partnerships. Ultimately, near and long-term success relies on proper coverage and promotion of the event. I would appreciate a response with your advice, concerns, and ultimately support. In particular, are there any legal or logistical issues with hosting and growing the community service event? Legal, I don't think there's anything there.
No, yeah, right.
Logistics, if they're gonna go along the roads, chief, we probably need to, and, anybody on the board have any, well, put it this way, before I write a letter to this gentleman, just let me know your thoughts on what are you proposing?
Will you give him my contact info?
Excuse me?
Will you give him my contact info?
Did I give him your contact number? Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did I? No, I haven't written that. Yeah, I will, yeah. Financial reports. We paid out $158,693. The big items were the Town of Highlands Library, $62,803 for the first quarter contribution. Jesco, $3,500 for highway machinery rental. O&R, $4,315 for multiple accounts. Legal, $10,371. Rockland County Solid Waste, $12,475. Town Hall Basement Cleanup, $2,299 for ServPro. And the State Controller got $25,078 for court-collected fines and fees. If you've got the right agenda, it says budget transfers. See, an additional sheet. Kelly wasn't able to get that together for tonight's meeting, so we'll do it next meeting. Board liaison reports. Councilman Parry.
Just report on the Verizon issues. I know that many of the phones in the north end have been restored, but there are still some that are out. Talking to the repairman, they indicate that the main trunk line was compromised. It should be replaced, but we've been hearing that for many years now. If they talk about replacing, who knows? They might even go to FiOS at some point, which I think everybody would appreciate. Just a shout out to the highway department. They're doing a great job keeping the snow off of the roads and keeping everything nice and safe. Joking.
Keeping the snow from falling down now. They're not messing around.
No, and just want everybody to enjoy the spring weather. Just be ready. Mother Nature has a habit of letting us know who's in charge, and I've seen snow on Easter, so just be ready. That's all.
Thank you. Councilman King.
Yes, good evening, and good evening, everyone at home. So first, we talk recreation. We touched on earlier the seniors. What I want to say further is that I believe that it's time to do further assessment and discussion on the senior services. So that's my recommendation that we can do as a board, either in executive session or at a later date. Additionally, the youth programs continue to bring a lot of good morale to the community. One of the areas that the recreation director is concerned about is lifeguards. We talked about last year during budget time increasing the lifeguard hourly wages to $13.50, I believe. Yeah. And his concern is that in relations to the other competitors, if you will, people around the area that have the need for lifeguards, they're paying them more than we are, and then the lifeguards, they're not gonna stay with us, is a concern. And so it'd be a challenge to keep the pool open without lifeguards. So we had already, I thought, approved $13.50, if I'm not mistaken, or at least
During the
discussed.
budget session, it didn't come through in what I saw to be the 2020 adopted budget thing that Kelly sent out. It's still last year's salary. That was me that spearheaded that, so I'll take the hit from anybody that has a problem with it. Bear Mountain closed most of their parks at the end of the summer because the kids going back to college for lifeguards that make $19 an hour. I don't know what West Point pays the people at Long Pond. I'm not really too concerned about it. I was a lifeguard back in the day. There's a lot you have to go through to get that certification, and I thought it would be nice to increase that salary to what you just mentioned in order to attract and keep people so we can keep the pool open. And as I recall, we had an abundance of money from Long Pond closing, so I
Right.
tapped into that just a little bit.
No, thanks for the rundown. Exactly right. That refreshes my memory. I think Aaron's biggest concern is the fact that the counselors get paid more money than the lifeguards. And he said the lifeguards have to go through all these certifications and things, and it didn't seem like it was equitable, and it certainly wouldn't be attractive for a lifeguard to go through that training and get and take less money than he could take, or she, somewhere else.
Okay,
So
well,
it's something for us to think about.
Talk to Kelly. Make a suggestion to her where you think it should be.
Okay.
And then we can amend the salary schedule.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Okay, we'll do that at the next meeting.
all right.
All right?
One last thing, ambulance corps, I did a visit last week. Got to meet a gentleman down there, first name Mark, I can't remember the last name.
Evans.
Okay, so again, Mark was on top of his game, as usual, the great representation from the ambulance corps. Looked good down there, by the way, keep up the good work. And then I talked with Jeff about the feasibility of lowering the age of membership to 16 years old versus where it's at now. Some young man cornered me at the high school when I was there for the Black History Program, and he was adamant that at 16, he's ready to get in there and do the job, and he just hoped that age changes, because right now he's a ambulance person, EMT in Cornwall.
No, he's not in the EMT yet.
Not EMT, so what is he?
Take the practicals, he hasn't done anything.
What do you
yet.
call his title?
He is, Ryan Walker is the young man that wants to join our junior corps.
Okay, so Ryan Walker is
That's
all
the
over.
one that's the paperwork that I brought to the board with, trying to get permission from the
Okay.
board to find out if the board had anything that they wanted to add or say no to a
Yes.
junior corps.
Very good. So Jeff was on it when I approached him and talked to him about it.
I thought we approved that, Jeff.
It did approve it, we just have to finish our bylaws,
Okay.
and they have to be brought to Justin.
Right, yeah, I thought it was, yes, go for it,
Yes,
but
we are
then
doing
show
it.
us
Yes.
final product and the board
Final
can.
product, we're still going through that process now.
So good job on that, Jeff. That's all I got, Supervisor.
Okay, thank you.
Me?
Councilman Sullivan.
All right. My printer didn't work too good, so I'm gonna do the best I can, not to digress. I have a tendency to digress, and I can't get back on the highway. So the building department, 2008 vehicle, the Equinox, as you know, has had extensive work. We had testing done, there's exhaust gas getting into the cooling system, they've replaced the radiator. The vehicle isn't worth $3,000, it's shot, it's parked, there's no more dispute over that. So you probably saw the joint email I sent out, I think you got a copy of it as well. To share vehicles, a dog catcher vehicle. The building inspector, by the way, has had to use dial-a-bus to go on inspections. That's getting just a bit low as far as I'm concerned. We have to address that. We did put $3,000 into the reserve fund for this year, and it was $2,000 already, so there's $5,000. But what's gonna happen is when 114 is retired, that's going to them. We need the new police car to come first. I hate to tap into that $5,000 for 2 months' worth of use. So the recreation vehicle, the animal control vehicle, dial-a-bus, if they can make it all work with all that for 2 months, I'm hoping we can get through it, because I quite frankly don't know what to do for 2 months. You can't lease, it's expensive to rent. If anybody has any ideas, I'm open to them, but that's kind of what I suggested that we do.
Well, while you're on that, Chief, is it gonna take 2 months for us to get
I
114?
left a message for the salesman, because all the paperwork is back from Pennsylvania from Ford, and then, the only thing we have to do now is have a voucher filled out or a purchase order, and once that's there, he's gonna give me a timeline, so,
Yeah.
I'll let you know maybe by tomorrow, next day. The car and the parts are there, the financing's approved, so I think once that signature, of that first purchase order goes, I think they can start cracking on it right away. I'll know more tomorrow for sure.
We can't get the vehicle before you get the
I
new
think
one?
if it's, looks like it's gonna be, say, 6 weeks, I think in essence, we could strip down 114 and just double up where we have to, because we're never gonna have 4 vehicles in operation, so I think we'll be okay with that.
And if we could go an additional year, put another 3,000 in reserve next year, I think we'd be okay the year after that to get them a vehicle, lease, whatever we're gonna do. And, you know, the building department just over like 21 years ago was part-time, 20 hours a week. Things have changed, and it's not massive government spending. People come and they want their town to look better, and they want enforcement, and we're doing that. And that's what's driving all these things, and I think that office is run fairly efficiently based upon the work that they have to do. On Friday of last week, Bruce and Dave Higgins, the engineer from Lincoln Tully, who the planning board recommended that engineer inspect what's gonna be Dunkin' Donuts, it's coming. So when people see ground getting cut over at Corbin Hill, and they say, I didn't know, it's been getting planned for how long, Justin? 10 years? Something like that?
Approximately, that project itself, close to 4 years. you know,
So
when
I
it-
call it Dunkin' Donuts, it's more than that. There's some sewer relocation to be done, drainage, some little retention ponds, hopefully, and there's gonna be a road cut coming off 9W to get there. So it's a pretty big project that will be starting. Don't know when it's gonna be complete. And we met to make sure, because there's a tendency when you have different engineers and attorneys for different boards and whatnot, I want everybody to just play nice and communicate. I think that point was driven home. And there's also a finite amount of money to inspect that. The engineer very well knows what that money is, and I'm holding him to it, so. For the month of February, there were 15 permit applications received, 13 were issued, 4 COs were issued, 34 building permit inspections, 12 advisory violation notices were issued, 6 of those were reconciled. There were 6 municipal searches, 10 FOIL requests, 53 total number of physical inspections. On the ZBA, who meet on the third Wednesday of a respective month. A lot of people have been going to those meetings, which I'm glad to see, in part because I keep saying that. Tony Glue was on that board before I was. I started in 1998. He gave us a lot of years of service, and we had a moment of silence for him, and just want to say that it was, you know, he served the town for all those years, and now he's gone, and we have a vacancy there. 26 Mine Dock Road is in zone R1R, and there's a applicant there that sought single family, then 2-family. Now we're going back to single family. There will be a public hearing on March 18th on that project. Thayer Flats, the building up the road, sought 2 variances from the newly penned village code. They will have a public hearing on March 18th as well. If March 18th isn't the third Wednesday, somebody correct me, in March. Sewer. So, I spent back in December 2 full days helping Kelly with the billing from Al Fusco. He watches YouTube because he told me so. It's from a couple years before that I was on the board, things outstanding. We went through everything, made sure there's no overlaps. I thought we did a pretty good job and came up with a number. I come back from the Association of Towns and you gave me these submittals that are completely all over the place, one category into another. I know you called them, I emailed. I'm hoping that we just get that where we can get to a starting number and have a declining balance, because right now it's all over the place, and I think we have that under control. Down at the plant, there are things that are gonna get replaced by the other project, which is EFC project that didn't start yet, and things that aren't. So things that need to be repaired, if they're gonna be part of the EFC project, we're not touching them. But we did have a pressure tank for the well that went bad. And I want to just thank Greg Moore and the Highway Department for replacing it for us down there. And I see Jeff is here. Greg told me that he's also driving an ambulance for you on Fridays, or something like that, so, I was a fireman. There's a lot of people that care about the community every bit as much as I do and volunteer a lot more. My meetings are at 7, not when the whistle goes off or when the ambulance call comes, so I deeply respect all you people that do that. Finally, when I was on the, I went to the Association of Towns. It would take me 25 minutes to go through the whole thing. I don't think everybody wants to listen to that. I'll just touch upon a couple of things. Tom DiNapoli spoke. He talked about what was in the record the other day. Everybody knows Medicaid is causing in the major part of a $6 billion shortfall. The Association of Towns is very concerned that with the county sending us AIM money and CHIPS money, that those two funds are going to be attacked in an effort to balance that. So I think it's March 23rd is a day you can go up to Albany and meet your legislator and speak your mind if you want to. So he spoke. On the whole hot ticket items, 2 years ago, New York kind of changed the laws where there's now a propagation of CCAs, community choice aggregations. We've had someone come speak through the committee with Olga. I know John Dotson wants to speak. I know there's other ones out there. That subject was covered pretty heavily. They're emerging. It's a lot like when they deregulated the phone industry. There was MCI, there was XL. My advice is everybody just settle down and let them get the best deal. I don't think we need to rush on anything on behalf of the community or for ourselves. In regard to other things, the other hot ticket item was upstate New York, the Adirondack Association of Towns, and Chuck Schumer spoke. They want cell towers and they want 5G, and they seem to not care how close it is to one person or another. And Chuck Schumer said if he becomes a majority leader, he's going to make an effort to put $50 to $100 billion worth of 5G improvements in the country. Now, at the end of the conference, there was a lawyer there that spoke who was formerly a cell tower attorney, and now he is somebody who defends defendants who file lawsuits against him, who said 5G will kill you. So I'm just, exaggerating a little bit. I think, and a gentleman came last meeting and said about the LED lights having 5G on them. They don't, and they're not going to, and I called the New York Power Authority to reassert that. When all that comes, I'm not in any rush to do anything rash, and I gotta tell you, I'm almost at a point where I think we need a task force of intelligent people, telecommunications people, to make a map to show us where our gores are and our overlaps and all that stuff, and do this intelligently, because I think somewhere out there is a magic spot for a cell tower or two of them, not all over the place. Finally, went to a seminar sponsored by the comptroller on the retirement system, and they recommend using the enhanced system, which is digital, and I come to find out our own Kelly and Elaine Labar are platinum digital users, enhanced users, just wanted to say that. And on a train ride on the way home, I saw the Mind Doc Parts chairman, Jean Wart. She was on a train. She was gonna miss her other train if she didn't make it in time, so I waited for her. She did make the train, otherwise I'd given her a ride home, and that's that.
Thank you. Thank you. ZBA, Jim, I'm not sure whether it's the village's appointment or the town's appointment, and I really don't care. I do have two requests to be on the board. So if you could find out Justin, how did we set that up? Would it?
Sure. So the agreement initially placed people on the board, and then the town had the first appointment after that, and then it rotates. I thought, and it rotates regardless of the reason for a vacancy. So whether some term expires or someone steps off or someone unfortunately passes. I thought at the reorganization meeting you made an appointment.
And we appointed Tony Galoo.
Right. So that counts as your appointment.
Okay.
I'm gonna make this complicated.
Unless, he was living at the time of the appointment, correct? Right, in which case it would be the village's appointment.
Tony never took his oath, did he?
He did not.
Okay. If that enters into it, just wanted to put that out there. We weren't gonna make this easy for you.
I could review that if needed. Then if you would like, I can give you further
I'll share the two
information.
letters I have with the village.
And I was
we'll
gonna
work on
ask
that.
that you share those two letters,
Yeah.
and if it's our turn, we would greatly appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, speaking of Bruce and the building department, Bruce had a meeting with 4 gentlemen that are proposing to open up Chipotle at the deli that is closed up now down by the South Gate. I was extremely impressed. The meeting was in my office. I wasn't part of the meeting. But I was extremely impressed by the 4 gentlemen who knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they wanted nothing to do with going to a ZBA, and they didn't want to do anything that would cause them to need to go to ZBA. And Bruce told them exactly what he needed from them in order for them to do what they wanted to do. It was a very professional, good meeting. I was very, very impressed. Okay. The work down at the sewer plant, this dechlorination thing that we're doing, I think we have 3 more weeks and they're gonna wrap that up. I was hoping that the 2 jobs would overlap, but obviously it's not going to. Not on the agenda, but we're gonna do a motion to set a public hearing for our next meeting, just to save the 2 weeks' time, in case we're ready to do it then.
Bond resolution.
Pardon me? A bond resolution.
Bond
yeah.
resolution, not a public hearing. Open to the public, but not technically a public hearing where you provide notice to the newspaper or...
Okay. All right. And we kind of gotten a letter from the EFC, that's the people we're getting the money from, that they're kind of reminding us that we have until July the 1st, 2021, to use up the money that they're giving us, basically. Is that the right way to put it?
Absolutely, yeah. A hard and fast deadline, right? And similar to Dunkin' Donuts, right? You all started your work on this project in 2014.
We sure did. Okay, Chief, do you have anything?
No, nothing tonight.
And-
Next meeting, awesome.
Are you going to need an executive session at the end of this meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I have request for reappointment to Board of Assessment Review. That is Ralph Montalese. He would like to continue working with the town of Highlands, requesting that I be reappointed to the Board of Assessment Review as my term has expired. Thank you for consideration of this position.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so carried. June, if you would let Ralph know that he's been reappointed. I sent by email a copy of the dial-a-bus safety plan. Every year, I must update my safety plan. Enclosed is the safety plan for 2020. It is also part of my county, state, DOT, and federal audits. Would you place this on Monday's agenda for approval? This will also need a vote and an amendment from the town clerk, June Patterson. So hopefully you read it. I read it. I didn't see anything wrong. It seems to be a carbon copy of the previous one. So if someone would like to make a motion to adopt and approve the safety plan for the dial-a-bus for 220.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. So June, I guess you need a certified thing that we did that.
Okay.
Because in her note, she says, would need a vote and amendment from the town clerk. I think that's what she's talking
And a
about.
what?
An amendment from the town clerk. I'm assuming she means,
Probably just certified
Form.
minutes would probably be fine.
postcard to approve 218. I hope everyone heard that. I hope everyone will come into the center, the village, the town, pick up 3 postcards, sign them, leave them off, because if Jim's going to carry one up, he might as well carry them all up there. Okay. What are we setting, a public?
So you're setting a meeting wherein you will amend your prior bond resolution. So back in 2015 or so, you had public hearings on your bonding and, well, really public hearings on the project, right? You needed a public interest order for the project. Then separately, you went to bond council to have a bonding resolution for the amount. Again, the amount changed when 3 years later you finally went to bid. EFC has agreed that they will provide that additional funding. We've had a public hearing on that. We notified the public of what that cost structure would be. We went back to the Office of the State Controller because we had to approve the new monies. They have yet to do so, although verbally they have indicated that it has passed their legal review and it is awaiting signature. Richie could have said something at the Association of Towns. But so this would require you to amend your prior bond resolution. You can set that for March 9th, which is the Monday.
So the motion will be?
A motion to have an amended bond resolution as of March 9th, 2020.
Have a second? Or do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Do we need a roll call on that?
That'd be good.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Perry?
Aye.
Supervisor Lindsay?
Aye. I think not on the agenda. I have a resolution to authorize the town of Highlands to enter into an installment purchase agreement with Laurel Mountain Leasing and Financial Services for a 2020 Marker Interceptor police vehicle.
That's it. That's the financing of your new police car. It's a 5-year lease.
I saw the email.
Right. So that's just a resolution memorializing that and authorizing the supervisor to sign the contract.
Okay, it's a 5-year lease at $10,447 with the first payment due and owing on July the 1st of this year. Do I have a motion to authorize the town to enter into this lease agreement?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Perry? Supervisor Lindsay?
Aye. I have a letter from Timothy Salmon, Patrol Officer Timothy Salmon. I'm writing to formally advise you that effective Monday, March the 2nd, I will be resigning from my position as a Town of Highlands police officer. I want to thank you and the town board for the opportunity to serve this department. If you have any questions in relation to this letter of resignation, please feel free to call me at any time. I ask for a motion to accept the letter of resignation, the resignation.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. That's all I have, unless there's something I've forgotten, which is very possible. Anything? Anybody? Anybody? Yeah, you have anything? Are you gonna stand up, there and tell us the ambulance was towed? Is that what you're gonna tell us?
Looked at June. We're waiting for the adjuster. That's all we're waiting for. And last month, January, we had 49 calls. So that's our report, and I'll get that to Kelly. But we're still waiting for the adjuster. Okay. June.
I was up there the other day, speaking
Mike
with Mike Biggs, and actually, I got up there just just after Pat was there. So he's helping us out all he can, and he more or less says, I can't tell you it's total, but I can tell you it's total. It's just the way he put it. He's up to like $100,000 and change for repairs, so I think he needs 70% of the actual value of the vehicle or something like along that line. So he's working with us, thank God. I mean,
Has been working with us some.
he's doing a good job for us. Somehow I got to figure out a way that the town can thank him.
One last thing for me, Mr. Supervisor, I forgot to mention that in reference to your letter that you read from Assemblyman Collinsmith at the last board meeting for his second annual 99th Assembly District Women of Distinction, I have two names for the board that we can talk about in executive session.
Great, okay, good, excellent. I'm glad you brought that up, because I would have slipped by me. I'd like to call a executive session to discuss police matters, and we will not be coming in after the executive session.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.